All right. So today I had the opportunity of learning about a program that would give you 100% returns in a month. And when I heard about it, I was like, this sounds too good to be true. And my friend that was telling me about it told me all the different people he knows that are doing it and how it's so great and all these different things. And I was like, this sounds too good to be true. Will you put me on the phone with the person that's teaching you about this so I can learn more? And so this person called me today, the friend of a friend basically, and told me all about this program. And it's, it's some Bitcoin trading thing where you put in $10,000 and then in 2 months you've got 100% return. And they do it through, their day trading, and the trades they do futures trading that are only open for 60 seconds, and they only do one trade a day, and that's how they're able to do it. I'm like, okay, this is all garbage. But they kept going and kept giving me this spiel and this big long explanation, and every question that I had, there was a rebuttal. So it was like, I did some research on this person that you just said created this company, and the internet says this is a fraud, and the state of Washington says that this company is not real, or at least not legitimate. Real in the sense that it's actually stealing people's money, but not legitimate in the sense that it's doing a good thing. And so, this guy that I was genuinely trying to help, I'm saying, hey, buddy, I understand that you've made a lot of money, but this platform that you've made the money on isn't real. This platform is their platform. He's like, no, it's definitely not. I'm like, no, it's definitely their platform. It's not used anywhere else. Nobody else uses this platform. This is a platform that is a fake platform to show you fake returns on your money. And the interesting is they require you to have like USDT to get into the platform, and they have you use a crypto wallet to get in. And so it's very, from a scam standpoint, it's a very good scam, because crypto is a lot harder to trace and a lot harder to get back. And so it's definitely the right way to do a scam is through crypto. But this person that supposedly made the company doesn't have any like real internet presence, doesn't have any accolades or awards or history of doing business, owning businesses, running businesses. And now he's running like a 600,000 person company, supposedly. Okay, that doesn't make sense. And then the next thing was like, I was like, okay, so do you get incentivized to bring new people to this venture? So yeah, we get, if we bring 5 people, we get 10%, essentially, is what he said. We get 10% of what they bring. I'm like, well, that's a Ponzi scheme. But he didn't say it that way. He basically said that the way you get it is through additional trades up to 10% of what they bring. So effectively, yeah, you can make a ton of money doing this thing if you're not the one caught holding the bag. Like if you get a bunch of other people to hold the bag, then yeah, you can make a lot of money. You can take out the money you put in. If you get, say you put in $100,000 and then you get 5 more people to put in $100,000 each, this company can have $500,000 into their crypto network, and you're able to take out 50,000. And so it's like, bro, this is obviously a scam. But he was so convinced that it wasn't a scam, and he was so convinced that all the bad reviews online were just fake bots, and that all of the AIs out there were being lied to, and they didn't know what they were talking about. And the reason why the founder isn't found online anywhere reputable is because he wants to remain hidden to protect himself. I'm like, well, of course he wants to remain hidden to protect himself. He's not real, and he's stealing everyone's money. But it got me thinking. I mean, so this guy just would not accept that he'd been lied to. I have a friend, a Christian pastor friend, who very adamantly, very adamantly says the same things about my religion, my cult. And I don't think I'm as like closed-minded as this guy was, but I definitely have all the rebuttals. I have all the answers. And so I think there is that risk where, like, I've seen tons of friends abandon Christianity and as a whole. I've seen friends abandon Islam. I've seen friends abandon Catholicism. I've seen friends abandon Mormonism. I've known people to abandon Jehovah's Witness. I've known people to abandon Seventh-day Adventist. I've known people to leave whatever brand of cult that we want to say. And cult's just a silly word for like a religion, basically. But I've also seen like what real cults can do, and I've been part of some things that I'm like, oh, this is what a cult is. And look around, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I understand what a cult is now. I've never experienced this in LDS theology, but this thing that I'm experiencing right now, you guys are all definitely in a cult. And so it's interesting. And my whole goal is always to find truth. And so it's hard when you look around and you're like, okay, I could see how that part of Mormon theology is wrong, or Mormon history is wrong, or this part of theology doesn't make sense. And actually the theology, it makes a ton of sense to me. But there's parts of it that you look and you're like, okay, that seems a little made up. And then there's other parts of it you're like, oh, this is like definitely a divine, eternal truth. This is good stuff. I like this. I'm going to put it in my bag and keep it and hold on to it forever. And so how do you separate those things, especially when people claim to be prophets and apostles? And this is a question that I had a discussion the other day with a friend. He actually took me on his little private plane. He had a little plane that he needed to go get up and running, and I've kind of vowed never to get into small planes, but he invited me. I was like, all right, whatever. And my wife was really mad because she hates small planes and thinks that's how everybody famous dies. But anyway, we got into the discussion of Mormon theology, and his thing was that he had a lot of different revelations to say that, you know, that the church was true. But in hindsight, and he's no longer active or attending, but in hindsight, he said that all of his revelations were just kind of eternal truths anyway. It wasn't something that was unique to Mormonism. And so I look at the things that I hold on to, and I'm like, actually, tons of them are very unique to Mormonism. One of the very specific ones that I think is fairly unique to Mormonism, even though intuitively a lot of other religions believe the same thing, but I haven't seen it practiced as much. And that is the ability to genuinely connect and to pray to God, and receive answers. So not just pray, but actually, okay, God, I would like to know this. And then you can feel it, hear it, see it, believe it. Like when I go to the temple and I'm sitting there in the celestial room, that communication to me is very like, yep, clear, donezo, let's go, next step. But I recognize that not everyone has that same experience. But that's the experience that I have. And so what am I supposed to do with that? If I go to the temple and receive what I feel is a very clear answer from God of how to further his work, how to be a better father, be a better community member, be a better citizen, help those in need, and like that all seems to be things that God would impress upon my mind. Is it because, like, would God do that there? Would God give me answers in the celestial room of the LDS temple if the LDS church wasn't true? Maybe he just, maybe it's not about that the LDS church is true and that it's that environment is very conducive. Maybe it's the preparation, the prayer states that you get into before you get into the celestial room, and the quiet, somber, peaceful reverence that is brought there, and the I don't know, like the nice things that are in the room that kind of bring an aura or a spirit that you're able to tap into. Maybe. What of the experiences I've had when I've been reading the Book of Mormon? What of the experiences that I've had surrounding death and attending temple shortly after? And so I don't know. I don't put like a ton of weight into, I put a ton of weight into like my eternal salvation and my eternal exaltation of always wanting to know that I'm on the right path. But I've literally had visions and in the presence of church leaders that were explaining things to me. And so for me, it's like, God, if this isn't where you want me to be, you're certainly not showing me. There's a lot of other people on the outside using their voices to try to dissuade me and distract me. But the things that come internally, which I would say could only come from God, they're pretty convincing that I am where God wants me to be. But how do we ensure that we are not being duped and that we are not being sold a Ponzi scheme? It's a great question. I think we can ask 100 people and get 100 different answers on what truth is and where to find it. For me, finding a sacred time, a sacred place, a sacred state of mind dedicated towards communing with God is that place for me. I think that you can get that revelation every single day. And I do think that revelation comes more frequently when there's disaster, when there's a death, when there's a big event in your family or life, a move, a loss of a job, gain of a job. But I don't think that's because God is any more vocal during those times. I think God's always there, but it's those times when we're actually willing to put the noise aside and be like, okay, I recognize that I am small and I really need your help. And that is the mentality that you need, that I need, to receive clarity and to receive an answer. When I try to think about it myself, I get hung up. When I let God lead, I'm freed. With that, just remember, you won't love it unless you live it.